Hello, everybody. It's a privilege to stand there to speak to you, tell my story, my vision, and it's all about kicking. And my first true love in life was a football, so soccer ball, but football. So do you understand? I took it everywhere. So it was an orange ball. I took it everywhere, to bed, every night, to school, every day, hiding under my desk at my feet, even to my grandfather's funeral, and under my traditional Norwegian jersey suit in my confirmation at the age of 14. So not a cute little baby, a pretty big youth. I brought it everywhere. So it was an obsession. It was my escape, this ball. Growing up in the western part of Norway, dreaming of the game, I loved escaping the fear of not fitting in. But my biggest dream was not to score goals or to win anything. It was very simple. I wanted to juggle the ball from home to school, juggle. Keep it in the air without losing it to the ground. And I tried every day. And I walked 3 hilly kilometers. This is Norway. This is not Manhattan. This is hilly kilometers. And every time I dropped the ball somewhere, I had to go back to the place where I dropped it. So I came too late to school every day, crashing lampposts, crashing with trees. But eventually, I made it. I also made it to the national team, played World Cups, played in the United States in 2003 World Cup. By the way, on a silent note, was crushed by United States in the quarterfinals, as you can see here. But before all this, I had another dream. I wanted to attend a football academy. After middle school, it was 1997, I would do anything to go into this football academy. But I was rejected. Skylar talked about gender. I was rejected. This was the only academy in my region, but it was only for boys. And I could not understand it, so I brought out the phone book. Remember those bricks, phone books, big ones? And looked up the number to the Gender Equality Minister of Norway. Phoned her, also with the old phones, where you had to wait for the circle to go around. Phoned her. I had to fight this. Media came to my doorstep and asked, how is it to be rejected from academy just for being a girl? And I told them the truth. It's unbearable. It cannot be like this. So I fought my way into this academy, and I learned one very, very important lesson, that people that say that football, sports, and politics do not mix are people that has never been excluded from the game. I want to talk to you a little bit about the 1%. Football, soccer, football, it's the biggest sport in the world for girls and women. Still, in Real Madrid, Barcelona, 99% of the revenues come from the men's team, 1% from the women's team. I'm not talking about the 1% from Davos, it's the football 1%. Yes, we see a lot of progress, Angel City, we see a lot of progress in the world, but we have to remember, Bill Clinton said earlier today, that trend lines are very important. So we have to remember that when the men's game grows, the gap between our daughters and our sons is widening. It's widening for us all the time. People say, and it's not, we have to admit, we have to be honest, that football, it's a beautiful game. I love it, it's an obsession. But it's also a place where women, because of gender, is being systematically discriminated. And this is not just wrong, it's also a failure to prepare for the future. Change takes time, I often hear. Be patient. Change takes time. But time alone won't fix the parts that are broken. It won't. In 1971, we had a World Cup, unofficial World Cup, for women in Mexico. And 110,000 people came to watch this unofficial World Cup final in Mexico. 110,000 people to the stadium. And I just heard about this final. The history has just silenced the whole final. You heard about the men's in the 30s and 40s and 50s. But this final in 1971, nobody hears about it. It took 20 years after this final until the women got their own official World Cup for women. Change requires leadership. It requires passion. It requires friction. It will not happen out of itself. It requires that all of us in the boardrooms lean into it. In 2022, I stood in front of the FIFA Congress in Qatar speaking about human rights. It was a very controversial speech. And many people have asked me, what did you feel before you went to the stage? And I can tell you I felt a lot of things. But one thing stands out. It was the first trip I went to after stopping breastfeeding my youngest son. So my biggest fear was to leak milk from stage in front of the world. Leadership is physical, it's mental. It can hurt, it can be ecstatic, but we have to lean in with the bodies we have, with the health we have when we're called to act. Girls, women all over the world that play sports, football, they face immense challenge just to play. In Norway, a progressive country when it comes to equality, 8 out of 10 girls report that they receive negative comments for playing football, for playing the biggest sport there is. You know how many boys who report the same? 0. No boy gets a negative comment for playing football. So even in progressive places, we have serious work to do. But change is, of course, possible, and that's my main message today. In 2011, when the world watched the civil war of Syria unfold, the Norwegian Football Federation built pitches in Jordanian schools to host Syrian refugees so that children, Jordanian and Syrian alike, could feel like kids again. But the core of this project and the other projects we have in 15 different countries, now with Palestinian refugees, Ukrainian refugees, is that we coach women, female refugees, as the coaches, as the sports directors, as the bosses on the field. Really empowering the ladies, but also bringing up role models for the boys and girls who's never really seen a female coach with the whistle in her mouth, leading, a mother leading the session. So this is what I'm really fighting for, a world where every girl feels that she belongs, knows that she belongs in sport, in football. Not just accepted, belongs. So these are not just numbers or projects, these are real stories about real change, real empowerment where women can lead, they can play, compete with their friends, be friends with their competitors, real empowerment. And we want to scale up these projects because we think they really work. So let's talk long term. Let's talk about the year 2100. It seems a long way, but it's still, my kids will be alive then, so it's long term. What can we do today to be those ancestors that leave a sport behind where it's equal opportunities for everyone? And I think if we don't act today, we will fail the generations to come as we did those before us. And we cannot do that we need to kick that development. We need to do something about this one. It's our chance now to play a longer game. It's not just about winning today. I'm a competitive person. We want to win. All footballers want to win. But it's not just about winning today. It's for the generations to come. My story, my journey started with this orange ball. It was an obsession to me and got me to World Cups. I became a lawyer and a judge. I became the mother of 3 boys who couldn't care less about football, by the way. Help me God. It's incredible. And it brought me to the stage of being the first female president of Norway. Football president, that is. we have a king in Norway. So I'm part of the 1%, but also the 100%. So it's become my life's work now. I love men's football as much as I love women's football. I run both. But it's become my life's work now to bring a legacy together with you all that brings a sport that is equal for everyone now and in the year 2100. And I said we should do some kicking, so let's kick ass together, folks. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.